So I'm excited to bring in now Wanda Lary with Workforce Alliance. And Wanda's put together a panel for us talking about Train for Tomorrow. We know that there's a lot of unemployment going on right now, but there's also a lot of future job opportunity. And this is something that Wanda does every day along with Workforce Alliance, trying to get people into the right jobs, get them prepared for those. So Wanda, thanks for joining us and thanks for putting together this great panel.
Thank you, Garrett, and thanks for the opportunity to join everyone this morning. As Garrett mentioned, I'm Wanda Lary at Workforce Alliance, and I am welcoming you to a panel conversation on training for tomorrow. Just to give you a little bit of backdrop in terms of what our landscape looked like nationally as well as in the state of Connecticut. And these numbers are as of September 2020. Our national unemployment rate is at 7.9%. Connecticut unemployment rate is slightly below the national at 7.8%. And while all industries in our state have been affected by the economic downturn, the most affected were leisure and hospitality. Moreover, in September of 2020, as reported by Health One Analytic, which is a Reader Digest version that's presented by the Department of Labor, there were 47,772 postings across the state of Connecticut, of which 6,552 are in the South Central region. And last but not least, due to the pandemic, Connecticut saw 269,000 jobs lost in roughly 1 month, now the highest since 1960. Within this context, how does one or should an employer provide opportunities to train for tomorrow? How does educational institutions help both the employer, a prospective employee, a current employee, and others train for tomorrow? How does the workforce development entities across the state help an employer, employees, new hires train for tomorrow? You'll hear from a panel of experts with these varying perspectives on this very topic in a few minutes. But first, let me introduce myself as well as the panelists. Good morning again, I'm Wanda Lary. I work at Workforce Alliance. Workforce Alliance provides and administers employment and training programs through the American Job Centers located in the South Central region. I lead a team of experts who are organized across in-demand sectors within the South Central region. Steve Johnson leads our manufacturing, bioscience, and engineering sector, while Vicki Guthrie heads up our healthcare, social, and educational services sector. We have Paul Gagne, who heads up our fire sector, which is finance, insurance, real estate, trades, and information technology. We have our new appointment, Matthew Reed, who is responsible for our hospitality, retail, as well as our TDL, transportation, distribution, and logistics sector. Our primary customer in the South Central region are employers. Our primary focus is to develop and match skilled talent pipelines for in-demand jobs across the South Central region. We develop these pipelines by tapping into the populations which are being served at the American Job Centers within the South Central regions. These pipelines include the underemployed, the unemployed, the long-term employed, those individuals on cash assistance, individuals who have availed themselves to specialized programs, such as customized training or special grants, and those individuals who are returning from incarceration. For more details on what Business Services has to offer, I encourage you to visit our website at www.workforcealliance.biz. Please check us out. Let me introduce our first panelist, Erica Lynch. Erica started working with Gateway Community College in March of 2006 as a healthcare careers advisor for the South Central region. The position was a result of a collaboration between Workforce Investment Boards, i.e. Workforce Alliance, and Gateway Community College. In March of 2012, she was hired as a workforce development coordinator for the college. In this position, she manages non-credit workforce related programs, which include health and business careers. Our next presenter, our panelist, is Asia Strickland. Asia is a certified nursing assistant with Benchmark Senior Living in Hampton, Connecticut. Her education and certifications, which she'll share with you later, are multitude and are stackable. She's committed to providing comfort, precisely charting details of complex medical history and changes in her patient's conditions, mood, or presentation while under her care. Our next panelist is Sinquel Short. Sinquel Short is a communication specialist at the American Job Centers. He specializes in marketing and promotions, working with job seekers online to help connect them with employment and training opportunities in the greater New Haven and Middlesex counties. He attended Central Connecticut State University while he studied multimedia and digital film production. Before enrolling in the AJC services, he held customer service positions, entry level and both leadership positions, and now he has truly started his career with the American Job Center. Last but not least is Samantha Bonanno, is a senior talent management professional who provides leadership and thought partnership to develop integrated talent strategies that align with business objectives. She has spent the last 12 years with Massonicare running the talent management and engaging the best and brightest clinical and non-clinical talent throughout Connecticut. Prior to that, she worked as a technical recruiter for the aerospace and defense industry on the national scale. With that said, I invite you to utilize the chat function or also join us for a chat after this very important conversation. So let's get started. This is going to be a question for all panelists, and I'm going to start with Erica. From your perspective, what is the definition or your interpretation of the phrase training for tomorrow? Erica?
Hi, good morning, everyone. We have always focused here at Gateway on developing talent pipeline for the New Haven region. So as we look at what we've done in the past and as we move to the future, what we're really looking at is blending as many credentials in with our credit, along with our non-credit training, to make sure that the experience that a student has here is not only a good one, but it also gives them a credential as they move into the workforce. So as we look at training for tomorrow, we're looking at making sure those credentials are available for all students when they're possible, when the industry requires them. So that's how we look at it here at Gateway.
Thank you. Sinquel, can you share your perspective on, as a job seeker or as a current employee, what does it mean for you to train for tomorrow?
Absolutely, and good morning, everyone. To me, training for tomorrow means an opportunity to prepare for the future. Prior to my employment, it was a lot of times where I was looking for an overnight fix to finding a job or something quick.
Did we lose Sinquel? We lost you a little bit,
But
Sinquel.
training for tomorrow is more set. Am I back?
A little bit. You're just breaking up a little bit.
Sorry about that. As I was saying, I think training for tomorrow is an opportunity to prepare for success, more so in the long term rather than short-term successes.
Thank you. And Samantha, what is your take on that phrase?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Working in healthcare in this COVID landscape, in this world that we're all living in, we say very often that things have changed as much in the last 6 months as they have in the last 6 years. And so we're constantly, from a talent perspective, looking at, current state of available resources and skills that are needed to meet the needs of our patients today, but also looking ahead to what our workforce needs to look like in the next few months to continue to meet the demand that is facing us. And so that's just looking at the internal resources that we have and how we can upskill our current workforce, but also how we partner with organizations like Workforce Alliance to make sure that they are staying ahead of the curve in terms of what kind of talent and skills are going to be needed in the marketplace.
Thank you, Samantha. Asia, what is your perspective on that phrase? Asia, you want just to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. My definition for that would be preparing for my future as a doctor, but to be specific, as a forensic scientist, having resources and training available for progression to success and having many opportunities available in the field that you are seeking.
Thank you. The general themes that I'm hearing through all the different perspectives is it's a lifelong commitment to learning. It's a long-term journey, and there's a partnership between the employer and the educational institutions, and there's a commitment from the job seeker to have that passion, that commitment to learn on an ongoing basis. So thank you for that perspective, so that we're all level set as we continue with this conversation. Erica, can you just provide us with a high-level overview about the offerings at Gateway Community College, both on the degree side as well as the certification side, but more so on the certification side?
Sure. Well, Gateway Community College is the largest of Connecticut's state community colleges. We offer 90 accredited degree programs and certificates and 20 credit-free training programs. We offer these training programs in a wide array of sectors, covering automotive, allied health and nursing, engineering, early childhood, fire administration, water treatment, hospitality, manufacturing, criminal justice, and many, many business programs. Our accreditation is through the New England Commission of Higher Education, or NECHI. So that is our main accreditor. As we look at credentials on the credit and credit-free side, what we try to do is make sure those credentials are embedded in the curriculum when they're needed. But we are looking at really upskilling and doing more of that in the future, with hopefully every program at some point. So we really try to make sure that a student has a credential, and when we can, make sure that they have that credential here on campus. We get it done here, they have it before they leave, and they understand the value of that credential in regards to their degree or their credit certificate or their credit-free program.
Thank you, Erica. Samantha, can you describe what Masonic Care does?
What we do in terms of upskilling?
Up in terms of, as a company, in terms of what your services are and who's your customer.
Sure. Yeah, so Masonic Care is a healthcare continuum. So when it comes to, we are focused on senior care. We are the largest senior focused healthcare provider in the state of Connecticut. Right now, we only operate within Connecticut, and we do serve patients statewide, which means for job seekers, we can provide employment opportunities throughout the state. It's very easy to move around within our system. Once you are in with us, if you are living in New Haven and you move to the Hartford area, we have opportunities in the Hartford area. So it's very, very easy to, stay with the company and grow once you're in with us. But again, going back to what the company does, we're a healthcare services provider. We have a skilled nursing facility. We have assisted living and independent living communities in the state. We also do home care and hospice home care throughout the state of Connecticut, in addition to private duty, non-medical home care. So we have clinical opportunities and non-clinical opportunities. We have dining rooms, and so we have folks who do food service work for us. We need our facilities cleaned, so we have housekeepers. So we employ a wide range of types of skill sets, and we have about 1,900 employees throughout the state.
Impressive. Erica and Samantha, this is a question for both of you, because there's a theme that's being threaded here that I want to capture. And the next question has to go to Erica in terms of what has been your relationship with the Workforce Alliance in the past and currently, and why is that relationship important?
Sure. We've partnered with Workforce Alliance for years. As long as I've been working, I've always had a relationship with the Workforce Board. So that's great, because they're really the people who help connect us to employers when they're looking for incumbent worker training. So it's been a great partnership to work with Workforce Alliance. Presently, we've actually just wrapped up some training through the CARES Act funding with them to complete CNA training and materials management training, or warehouse and distribution. So it's a lifeline. I can't say enough about it. So it's been a real pleasure to partner with them and work with them throughout the years.
Right, and just to kind of follow up a little bit of what Erica is talking about, it's really packaged as what we call customized training, where we get some feedback from both an employer as well as the market data in what's presented, and we develop customized programs to kind of meet that skill gap, whether it's a shortage or it's a skill set that's missing in the market, so that we can develop those pipelines for the employers within our region and across the state of Connecticut. And so we partnered on our Skill Up program for manufacture. We've partnered with Gateway in terms of our hospitality program as well. And so there's a number of continuous programs, and they also provide opportunities for our customers to develop training through a Gateway Community College. And so Samantha, very similarly, how has that partnership worked with you in terms of workforce development, in terms of Workforce Alliance?
Yeah, we have partnered with you guys on the CNA pipeline program. That's a big area of need for us. And talking about, you know, the training for the future, that will continue to be a major area of need, not just for Masonic Care, but for organizations all over the state, all over the country, and as well as the hospitality program. We've partnered with you guys on that too. We've come in, myself and my colleagues, we've come in and we've actually presented to some of your job seekers on site. It's been a few months since we've done anything like that, but we've done it many times in the past where we've presented to job seekers just some tips and tricks on resume writing, interview skills, how to get the job you want, where to look for jobs, and you know, how to, just all those little nuances of how to behave in an interview, and the kinds of things you want on your resume to be able to get the job that you want once you do have those skills.
Thank you. And this is for both Asia and Sinquel. So I'll start with Asia because she's unmuted, and then I'll pick it up with Sinquel. Asia, how have you interacted with the American Job Centers, and what has been your experience as a customer of the American Job Centers in the South Central region?
Wow, it's been a pleasure. I would send anybody who is seeking for help that way, someone who is needing more strength and guidance into a career path. They've helped me on revising my own pathway to success. Bus passes, reimbursements, job club was awesome for one of them. I got to learn a lot of things towards strengthening my resume, a cover letter, thank you letter. But mostly it's gaining confidence and being able to speak more openly, and knowing what I want and to get it done.
Well, thank you. And, you know, Asia is kind of not, she's very modest. And so Asia, I just want you to highlight some of the certifications that you have under your belt. I wanted you to present those because I didn't share that with you and share, you know, at the beginning in terms of your bio, but I mean, you have very stackable credentials that's going to assist you in the long term. Can you share some of those credentials that you received as a result?
PCT. So I'm certified in phlebotomy and EKG. I was able to gain my CPR certificate, first aid, matrix learning, which is about computers, and more so about being able to do interview skills also. So I gained a lot through American Job Center. I really have.
Thank you, Asia. And thank you for getting up with us, because in your bio, I noticed that you work the overnight shift. So, but you look really great right now. So thank you for
time management.
Absolutely. Sinquel, can you share your relationship and how it's been and what you've received, and talk a little bit about the program that you were a part of that availed yourself to the opportunity that you're in right now?
Absolutely. First off, I want to start by saying the American Job Center does amazing work for our local community. What they offer is something that at a certain time I totally needed. The things with the different programs and workshops, I was able to gain so much knowledge in a short period of time. Usually to gain knowledge in workforce development in that sense, you would need months of experience, sometimes years. And some of the skills that they were offering was just by far skills that I needed. And more so with the program that I work with, Project CEO. So Project CEO works with young adults ages 16 to 24 living in the South Central community. And what they do is they offer you skill-based sets based on whatever industry that you're interested in. For me, that was social media. So they were able to offer me not only industry skills, but experience. I was able to learn and work closely with personnel where I would learn, where I'm doing things that I'm doing now. I'm learning things that I'm doing now in my job and gaining all of these skills. And it was just a great opportunity. The greatest thing I feel about American Job Center is that the people that you interact with, everyone that you come in contact with, they are very passionate about what they do. And they're very passionate about expanding the workforce in our local community. So that's just a few things I can touch upon with the American Job Center.
And at the end of all of that, we hired Sinclair. So his work of excellence, and he continues to be excellence, and he continues to do a terrific job for the American Job Center. I mean, he gets high praises continuously as an individual who is representing the American Job Centers. This is a question for all of you because you offer different perspectives on this particular question. What industry trends are you noticing with respect to training for tomorrow, in general as well as occupational? Erica, do you want to take that one first?
Sure. During this time of COVID, I mean, healthcare rises to the top, of course. Also IT, those are the two things that you need constantly. And then also that rise in materials management. So how are we moving things, across the country, across the state, and who's in those warehouses working? So those have been the three big ones that we've seen rise here at the college.
Thank you. How about yourself, Samantha?
Yeah, so it's very interesting right now. The talent landscape, it's very difficult to find really strong talent. I think obviously this pandemic, it's hard to think about anything else or really talk about anything else because it's all day every day for us working in healthcare. I will say that when I first started in the healthcare sector about 13 years ago. It was very, very difficult to recruit for some of the higher level professional positions, physical therapy, occupational therapy, physicians. And now we've seen sort of a shift back to the entry level positions, those CNA jobs, the food service, the housekeeping, the jobs that really many people out there can be qualified for and apply for. We don't see the level of interest that we need to sustain the demand for these type of roles. So I think it's more certification based positions that we see high demand for. CNA jobs, I can't stress enough how important of a career path that is and what the demand will be like going into the future. The best advice I could give anyone who is looking to be put on a career path is to go and get your CNA certification, get into healthcare. The possibilities will be endless for you. You will always have a job. You will never be laid off out of work. There will always be something for you.
Thank you. Sinquel, what are your thoughts? What are you seeing as a job seeker? What are some of the opportunities or challenges or the trends that you're seeing?
I think some of the barriers some people are having is transitioning to this new norm of everything being virtual. I feel as though that with this transition, there are a lot of things happening where there may be some job seekers who have been in the workforce for so many years, and now that they have lost their job and they're looking for something, they don't even know how to go about that now with everything being virtual, or where to find or how to access these skills. So I think that is a huge barrier that some people are working with. Also gaining access, just to the internet. We know everything's online, everything's via Zoom. Maybe even an interview, you may have a Zoom interview. You may be used to showing up to an establishment, and now you have to learn how to transition your interview skills from in person to virtual. So I think that's something that is personally in my field that has been a barrier challenging during this time.
And what happens, Sinquel, where your interests as a job seeker sometimes does not match the opportunity? what would you suggest you do? You know, what you're passionate about may not match what's currently available.
Mm.
How do you think job seekers are navigating through that? And that question goes to Samantha, you as well as Erica. How do we coach, you know, the workforce to kind of pivot and to receive sustainable employment?
Uh, to start, I would say it's good to keep your options open and keep your mind open. Although there may not be an opportunity for you right now, you can create one. There are a lot of opportunities, ways that you can create an opportunity, whether it be volunteer or just gaining the skills or experience to add to your resume. Uh, there are certain fields where you can create a certain position to where you can add that experience to your list. So personally, that's how I would start that off.
That's an excellent response. I appreciate that. The open-mindedness, you know, being open-minded and keeping your options available. Erica and Samantha, any comments as well? Erica?
Sure. I think also, what's the time frame? I mean, if somebody is really looking for employment quickly, that's going to sort of change what we're looking at as far as options. So when people have more time, I really like to talk about what kind of working environment, what kind of hours they like, you know, and really sort of hone in on what their actual, you know, what their career goal, career path is. But if you're dealing with a time restraint, that can change the landscape a little bit. So you hope to get them, you know, close enough within their career path or goal, but sometimes it will veer, you know, in a different direction, and sometimes that's okay. So, but time has been one of those things that's come up as a challenge, a barrier as well.
Thank you. Samantha, how about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with what you both had to say. I think it's being open-minded and being a little bit flexible and recognizing that the job that you may be qualified for today is maybe not your dream job. But I always tell job seekers, don't underestimate the value of a transitional job. And so you may, if where you want to go is here, you may have to take the job for a few years that's here to get you there, and recognize that all of that experience is very, very valuable and will get you where you're trying to go. But timing is everything, and you have to be patient. And there is a such thing as a career path, and they call it a path for a reason, because it's not just leaving your house and getting to your destination immediately.
Thank you. Asia, I want to invite you in the conversation as well, and just kind of go back on that question. As a job seeker, what trends are you seeing, either opportunistic and or being challenges for you?
More so of PPE. It's definitely a big change. That would be dressing fully PPE, such as a gown and a shield, instead of just the standard PPE, usually needed for different types of precautions for many pathogens. So sometimes it could be overwhelming towards the resident or the patient to come in fully PPE, because they don't want to feel like they have something, whether they do or they don't. But that's what the norm that we're getting into now. Also, I've come across a lot of applications or job things to apply for that are for temporary temperature takers, where you're just standing by the door taking people's temperature before getting into the entrance. But that's a lot
You
of
bring up an excellent point. You know, there were several different jobs that emerged as a result of the pandemic, namely, you know, contact tracers and, you know, temperature checkers and a number of other environmental specialists, you know, within the hospitals, ensuring that the environment was COVID standard, et cetera. So what I heard you say is invaluable offerings for a job seeker out there, in terms of finding themselves in a place where potentially that ideal job is not there for them, but you're being open and being flexible in terms of timing, and looking at this as a journey as opposed to your final destination, and being aware of all those things. So Thank you for that response. This is a question that is, what's better, what came first, the chicken or the egg? So the question is, what's better? Do you get a college degree or do you get credentials? I mean, what's the outlook? I mean, can you do, or do you do both? Erica, what's your perspective on that?
It depends on the student. I've seen this many times where there are certain students that just aren't ready for college, and that's not what they want. They want to work. So getting in and getting a credit-free training program underneath their belt, working for a couple of years so they actually kind of know what they like within the industry they're looking at. Their education becomes almost more valuable at that point because they're in the field, they're working through, whether it's a credit certificate, which they only have to come in, for the first 30 credits, then they can part-time out that associate's degree, or they can move on to transfer into a 4-year degree. So it really depends on the student and where, again, that time, those barriers to education. So you really take in all of those pieces. But I time and time again, I've seen it. It's jumping into a full 15 credits a semester is not for everybody. So, finding that balance for each student is really important.
Thank you. Samantha, how about yourself? What's better for an employer or for your organization or just in general, credentialing or degree?
Yeah, I think again, sometimes people devalue the importance of just getting your foot in the door in an industry or with an organization. I can speak for Masonic here. We offer tuition reimbursement. And so I encourage people, if you want to work in healthcare, if ultimately being a CNA or a housekeeper is not what you want to do, it's a good starting place, and you can get some great benefits and get great experience and meet some wonderful people. And number one, really find out if this is the type of industry you truly want to be in, because there's pros and cons to every industry. But once you're here, we have a really robust tuition reimbursement program, and we can help you go back to school and pursue that degree or something that might be more long term. But you can work while you're doing it. And I hear all the time when I go out and talk to people about interviewing, everybody wants experience, but how do I get experience if no one will hire me? You can get experience in the industry, starting off anywhere. And we put a lot of value on that. We put a lot of value on folks who have worked their way up or who have been exposed to the industry while they're pursuing a degree. It doesn't matter what type of position you're in. We just like to see that you're working and that this is where you want to be and you're working towards that.
Thank you. How about yourself, Sinquel? What do you think is better? Because you have both, some college at Central Connecticut State University, and you certainly have some credentials. I mean, some stackable certifications. What is your take on that question?
I think that they both can be beneficial depending on the person. They both gave very great points. If you look at the college route, there are some students that go to school, they may not have any work experience. And there are some schools that offer employment opportunities, whether that be on campus, off campus, and you get a chance to build a resume or build experience that you probably didn't have before. But also on the flip side, as she spoke of, Samantha spoke of, sorry, there are employers that are willing to send you to school. I have worked at a number of different companies, even just warehouse companies that offer opportunities for you to go to school and still be able to work and gain experience and knowledge at the same time. So as they spoke of, it depends on the person, but I do believe that both can be beneficial in the long term.
Thank you. Asia, how about yourself? I mean, what do you believe is better? Because you're on a career path to ultimately become a doctor, and you're taking a number of different avenues to get you to your ultimate goal.
I agree with everyone's different perspective. It depends, like Erica said, it depends on the person. There was a time where I went to Quinsigamond Community College in Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts, and I also had a job, but it was weighing on me of which choice I needed to take, of keeping the job or going to school. And to me personally, it was getting a job because I didn't want to be homeless. I needed to feed myself, and buy the things necessary that I needed as a person. So again, it goes individual as what you need and where you want to go as your path.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Asia. And what I'm hearing collectively is that it's a matter of affordability. It's a matter of timing. It's a matter of, where you're at in your life and what the opportunities that exist. And so it's going to be an individualized choice for individuals. Certification certainly is shorter because it's certainly not, a 4-year or a 6-year commitment. However, you can get as good at paying jobs, if not better, by taking on some of these certification opportunities. How has the COVID-19 affected the ability to train either your workforce or individuals who have been impacted and are unemployed? Samantha, how has the training been in professional development within your organization today?
Yeah, I will tell you, we recently, last year, we partnered with the town of Wallingford and a program called Hubcap and the Wallingford Board of Ed and we adult education CNA program. And we were very excited about it. We actually had 2 of our own employees from our housekeeping department that we were paying to put through the program so they could become certified to be a nursing assistant. We were excited about this pool of people who would be coming out of this program. It was about 13 people who would be certified and who would potentially come work for us once they had that certification and, being able to advance some of our own employees. We were very excited about that. And then the pandemic hit in the spring and that program kind of got put on hold for all intents and purposes. They had some technology limitations and, there was a component where they were coming on site both to Masonic-Care and to Gaylord Hospital in Wallingford and doing clinical rotations towards the certification. And, both communities were closed to visitors and students because of the pandemic to protect the patients and residents. So, that kind of put the brakes on things. I will say that I believe that group just graduated and will be certified as CNAs. So that's wonderful. It took a little longer than anybody had planned, but, the end result ultimately was a positive one. But we've seen that really as a challenge. And I will say also a format like this, a Zoom format, we used to, Masonic-Care, do a monthly, what we called corporate orientation. So it was all new hires starting throughout the state. They would come to our central location in Wallingford. It was a wonderful program. They got some education on the history of the company. There was some interactive components. All new employees got to meet the CEO and meet some of the senior leadership. We obviously cannot do that program anymore. So we've actually modified it to an electronic format, very similar to this. And that's been very successful for us. So in terms of training and onboarding, we just kind of had to modify and go the electronic route because of the conditions.
Thank you. Erica, how has it affected, the learning environment within the community college space?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge has been just overall digital literacy. Many students have a phone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can handle being on a computer or a laptop. So bringing up that technology in students and understanding has been really the biggest challenge, especially when you can't have as many students in a traditional setting, to sort of walk them through what it means to even reset a password. But getting used to being on a computer, getting used to being on a webcam, and participating again in things like this, there's a big learning curve that we found coming with the digital literacy and onboarding, especially for the fall. For the spring, we're actually, credit and non-credit, we're all looking at different ways to help students so we don't have the same challenges for the spring. But that's really been our biggest challenge.
How about yourself, Sinquel, in terms of, within this COVID? I know that you're currently employed, but what are some of the challenges that you see either for job seekers and existing employees within an organization when it comes to training?
Right. Actually, during my final weeks, during my internship with the program in March, that was when everything got shut down and the program was suspended. So it definitely impacted. I didn't know, at that time there was a lot of unknowns and confusion. We didn't know how things were going to go. And how, as Erica stated, just transferring everything virtually has been huge, very huge. And I think that is also a huge barrier.
Sinquel, you're breaking up just a little bit. You
At
might have
least
to repeat some of what you said.
for some of the youth in our local, some of the youth and job seekers in our community, is having access to a computer, a working computer, or a webcam, or having access to Wi-Fi is something that's huge, and that people is a barrier that we have been working through and trying to connect our job seekers so that we can stay engaged and make sure that they don't feel that they're losing an opportunity because of something that is out of their control. So
Thank you. Asia, how about yourself? What are some of the
It's the same as what Sinquel said. It was the change in learning where it's based on a webinar. Uh, but I guess the opportunity side would be I get to do more vitals. Before I didn't get to have that chance to be able to do the blood pressures, the temperatures and all that. So being able to do it more, I have more experience. So when there's something bad, I always try and take something good out of it.
Erica, in terms of, what are some of the solutions in terms of fixing the digital divide, in terms of the digital literacy? I mean, how are we responding to that as educators and as employers and as job seekers? I mean, what are some of the options out there that are available?
Yeah. I know the college for the spring semester credit side has got a program that they're going to put students through on, on digital literacy itself. This college handed out laptops in March. So again, making sure that everybody has the resources they need. So we've tried to help, narrow that divide a little bit with some of those resources. Here on the credit free side, we actually are going to do more of a hybrid training for new students coming in. So we actually want to see them. We want to have them on ground so they can actually understand what their capabilities are with an actual computer, understand what they have at home. Because once we can get through that, class actually goes a whole lot better when we've actually seen it and understand it. We'll have them bring in their own, laptops if they can, log in on the campus. So we know, again, then it would just be their internet, connection, which we wouldn't know about at home. But those are the types of things. So really taking those steps to make sure everybody understands, that this is the medium we need to be in now. And we've all got to, be patient, flexible, and move forward with it. I think that this will benefit students in the long run for sure, because I don't think some of this stuff's going away. So I think they're going to need this as part of their lifelong learning.
Samantha, the same for you. I mean, what solutions have you offered to your employees in order to close the gap, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it's just, as Eric have said, it's just flexibility and understanding and patience and, understanding that everybody's comfort level with the technology is different and offering options. We've worked very hard to try to offer some options to our employees. If you don't have a desktop computer or a laptop at home, is it something you can do on your phone? With a smartphone, and many times it is. And so just understanding what the limitations might be and being able to respond to those as they arise.
Sinquel and Asia, the same thing. What do you see in terms of solutions for a job seeker? I mean, how do you voice that to an employer, or how do you voice that to an educator that you're struggling with the technology without feeling that you are not capable? Sinquel?
I think it's more so like how she spoke of, making sure that you have the opportunity to gain access to certain resources. There are a lot of different ways and a lot of different avenues that you can take to gaining certain access. And I believe that, it first also comes first with just being open and being honest and letting them know that, hey, I'm having problems with Wi-Fi, or this may be a problem. I may only be able to meet by phone or by phone. And there are some employers that will definitely accommodate for your barriers. So I think that's, of course, first and foremost, just being honest and open, and of course, trying to find different ways where you can gain access to resources that will help you in the long run.
Asia, the same question. I mean, what solutions would you offer job seekers who may be struggling with, trying to find the right resources available to them to close the gap on whatever, competency deficiency that they have around technology or gaining access to that particular resource?
Always ask. Never be afraid to ask. The worst thing that could happen is no. Search, get your research like crazy. I would say a lot of searching, because resources is always out there. It's always out there. It's very, and when you come across it, it's the best thing. So of course it would be research.
So we're coming up on the top of the hour. So I wanted some final thoughts and comments. What recommendations would you offer an individual who's training for tomorrow for a career in any industry? And as a follow-up, how does one build on stackable credentials, which aligns to a meaningful career path? So I'll start with Erica and then give each of you an opportunity to respond to that question as well.
Sure. A lot of my recommendations when I speak one-on-one with a student, it will come back to that time constraint, if there is one, where they see themselves in 5 years. Do you see yourself behind a desk? Do you see yourself working outside? Where do you see yourself in the grand scheme of things? When they can answer some of those questions, it's easier to say, okay, well, why don't you research some of these fields, and we'll get you into a training program. Try it out, see if you like it, even if it means you've got to take the job for a couple of years to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. That's sometimes the most valuable thing that they can do. I don't ever like to steer anybody away from a goal or their dream job, because there's a way to get there. So just making sure that what they're doing here at Gateway fits where they are at the moment, and also hopefully ties into that next education goal that they have, or the next job that they want. For the most part, when looking at stackable credentials, I always find that once a student picks an area, picks healthcare or IT, the path becomes more clear. So again, and it's very easy to say, well, okay, we're in computer science, you've got this track or this track. What do you think? And have them do research on that. So it's knowing what you want. When they have that understanding, it helps us do our job a little bit easier, because then those career paths fall into place.
Thank you. Samantha, how about yourself? Final thoughts, recommendations on career path?
Yeah, I think good advice for any job seekers or anyone looking to start on a career path. Do your research and know what kind of jobs, what certification or what degree is going to qualify you for. So often I interview people and they say, well, I have this master's degree, or I have this, and they believe that alone qualifies them for a job. And oftentimes it's some kind of credential much less and much less time consuming that would have also qualified them for that same job. So try to understand, what direction you're going and what you need to get from A to B, and don't just assume. Because there are, especially in healthcare, there's a lot of certifications out there that, are specific to hospitals or are specific to different care settings and may not be relevant where you think it will be relevant.
Thank you. Asia?
I'm someone who definitely came from another state. I started off with no job, and going to American Job Center changed my life for definitely, of course, for the better. My job seeker consultant was there with me through every step of the way and was able to let me gain focus on what I wanted as my path and helped me get there. And even when the job wasn't the job that I wanted, I knew that there was transferable skills to come out of it that I can put on my resume to make myself stand out. Secure jobs is also a big part of it. They help me with the reimbursement part, with my LinkedIn page, which seems something so small, but it's not. It's a big social media platform for jobs. I can't express enough how a career path is the biggest thing and it's the most important thing in life, and that American Job Center can help you with it throughout the whole thing. Like, I've had pain and turmoil throughout the whole thing, but I could say today I've gotten to where I needed to be.
And Asha, you can certainly shout out those individuals at the American Job Center.
I want to too. I was holding it in. I was holding it. Erin Canada and of course Helen Sneed.
Say that again.
Helen Sneed
Erin?
and Erin Canada. And Barbara.
Thank you. And I know
Barbara Green.
I know that Barbara Green, right? Cinquel, the same for you. What recommendations do you give an individual?
I think a huge topic which was talked about is like how they said, knowing what you want and making sure it's something that you're passionate about. I think that a little bit of planning definitely goes a long way. So make a plan, and if there's a barrier like how you spoke of earlier, maybe the job that you're looking for, there's no open positions at that time or no open availability. So find ways of which you can pivot. How can I access this job? Who can help me get to this job? Are there local resources that can help me? Are there local programs and a little bit of work, but that will go a long way, and you'll end up with a job that not only you're passionate about, but something that will that you love to do, and keeps you going every single day.
Exactly.
Thank you. And Cinco, I know that you want to give a shout out to a couple of people as well. So here's your opportunity at the American Job Center.
Absolutely. I'd love to give a huge shout out to, of course, everybody at the Project CEO program, to Kalaya Spears, to Ann Harrison, definitely someone else who I work closely with on my journey to where I am today. So thanks to everyone. I don't want to leave anybody out. So thank you.
Okay. There's a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know whether or not we responded. I'm just going to take one of those before I turn it back over to Garrett Sheehan. It says, what are the top 3 skills needed in the near future where training is currently available? Erica, maybe you might, I think you mentioned it at the top of our hour.
Yep. I actually, there are trainings certainly that you can do, but the skill sets go back to that understanding how to be a part of a team, being flexible, being patient during this time, interviewing skills. So it's a lot of some of the real basic things to help you get a job. Helps you throughout your education as well. So yes, there's training everywhere, but some of those core skills are those things that we all are looking for, all the time. It's and I hear it from employers across the board, this is what I need, somebody who's really willing to come in, be a team player, be flexible, and learn as they go.
Flexibility and customer service.
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I agree with Erica. Flexibility and customer service. I hear that from managers all the time. Find me someone who has good customer service skills.
Customer service has been a really big thing, noticeably, in the healthcare field.
Yeah, thank you. And how does one get the basics in terms of Microsoft Office? I think you all can answer that. There's so much available out there. Cinquel, do you want to give your offering in terms of how someone could get familiar with Microsoft Office?
Oh, absolutely. There are many resources. At American Job Center, we have a few resources where you can use some of our online workshops to gain some of the skills. We actually also host some digital literacy courses where you can gain these skills. But if you do not have access to some of those resources, there are stuff you can access on your phone and at home, whether it be LinkedIn Learning, YouTube. There are different ways where you can, I believe that everything now is, as I said earlier, going into virtual. So there are a lot of ways where you can go just online and learn all these different skills that you would need to create, a virtual experience similar to what someone would have in person. So that's something I think.
Thank you. Garrett, do I turn it over to you now or Tamika?
I am here, Wanda, and thank you so much. Thank you to everyone on the panel. This is great information, especially right now. I know we've got so many people who are out there looking for job opportunities. Definitely turn to Workforce Alliance and all the other partners that Wanda was just speaking about. If you have trouble getting in touch, just don't have the contact information, you can reach out to the chamber and we'll make sure that you get you in touch with Wanda and the rest of the team. So Wanda, and everyone on the panel, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, Garrett. Very much appreciate it.
Great. Well, we are continuing on with the Big Connect, and we have one more speaker coming up before we end today. So please stay with us, Pamela Shand. I should mention too, actually our panel, I believe Wanda is going to head into the Zoom room. So if anyone wants to continue on with them, Southern Connecticut Gas and UI, the energy efficiency programs, are the sponsors of our Zoom lounge. So we will put that link up there. And I believe Wanda and some of the panel will be in the Zoom lounge for a little while to discuss further any questions people have about opportunities. Again, the Zoom lounge is the place where you can go for networking and to connect with our speakers after they finish up. And so that's in the chat right now. The link there to the Zoom lounge. Last chances to get in on that Foxwoods Resort Casino package as well. Go visit the exhibitors. A great list of exhibitors that we have. You can find them right there on the Whova web platform, or if you're watching on your mobile device, they're there as well. You need to go in, visit a visitor, do a few things, and that will enter you in for a prize. So you need to claim a deal or offer, post a comment, and like a booth. Then every time you do that, so you can do that at every exhibitor we have, that will then enter you in to the prize running, which we will randomly draw in about an hour or so. And that will be our winner of the room giveaway, dinner, and free passes at Monza Race Karting, all at Foxwoods Resort Casino. Thank you to them for providing this great prize once again. All right, well, we do have a few of our sponsors. We again want to thank Comcast Business. Here's a few words from our other sponsors as well, and then we'll get you to our last session in just a couple of moments. And that's coming up in just a moment. Here we go.
Protect the environment and help your local economy by using certified and environmentally validated biodiesel from American Green Fuels. Biodiesel is a renewable energy source made from recycled waste products, such as used cooking oil, which is converted into biodiesel at American Green Fuels and then blended into your heating oil. Biodiesel burns cleaner even in your current oil burner, so ask your oil retailer for biodiesel produced by American Green Fuels. You are what you heat.
At AMS Practice Management, we are recruiters committed to your success. We're not just a vendor, we're your partner. Your team is foundational to your success, and we understand that finding the right candidate is about more than keywords on a resume, which is why we go beyond job boards and algorithms. It's about cultural fit, personality, experience, and so much more. You need someone who understands the vision. We're committed to providing you excellent customer service through clear communication and value-added information throughout the whole recruiting process. What challenging position can we help you fill?
So you're a small business, or a big one. You were thriving. But then, time to think, plan, pivot. How do you bounce back? You don't. You bounce forward with serious and reliable internet, powered by the largest gig speed network in America. But is it secure? Sure, it's secure. And even if the power goes down, your connection doesn't.
So how do I do this?
You don't do this. We do this together. Bounce forward with Comcast Business.
Great, and thank you again to all of our sponsors who have allowed us to put on this big connect for you. But we're not done yet. We have a couple things more left to go. We are going to introduce Pamela Shand in just a moment. I also want to let everyone know that at 1 o'clock, we are going to do the end of Expo happy hour networking opportunity that will be in the Zoom lounge. So please, when this is over, go over to the Zoom lounge. It should be at approximately 1 o'clock when we wrap up with Pamela, and then we'll be there in the Zoom lounge for some networking. The Big Connect is exactly what it says. It's all about connecting people together, connecting business. And so even if we have to do that virtually, we're glad that we can provide that opportunity.